Let me introduce our guests, and then our conversation will begin. With me in the studio is Mr. Kwame Janto, a leading member of the CPP. Mr. Janto, thank you for joining us on Newsfile again.
Thank you. Good morning.
Also with us is a member of the NPP communications team, David Asante. Hello, David.
Hi.
It's been a while.
Been around.
Yeah. And Professor Ransford Jampo, Senior Lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, Research Fellow, the Governance Unit of the Institute of Economic Affairs, also join us in the studio. He's here with us today. We're expecting Mr. George Lowe, former NDC MP for North Dai, to also join us very shortly here on Newsfile. Let's start with our initial comments, brief comments indeed, on a story that broke this week. We've all been anticipating, waiting with bated breath, so that, former Attorney General Martin Amidu can get to cross-examine Alfred Woyomegate. Well, their peers, they're not going to get an opportunity because he withdrew that particular case from court. Let me start with you, Mr. Jantoa. When you heard that story, what ran to your head? An opportunity missed? Because I was anticipating this showdown.
Good morning to my fellow panelists, and good morning to all those watching this program. Initially, what was Martin Amidu's beef? His beef was that the NDC government were not prepared to prosecute Woyomegate. All the things they were doing, so far as he was concerned, was just a farce. And so because of that, he wanted to push and make sure that he could cross-examine him. He did also indicate, and correct me if I'm wrong, that based on this Woyomegate trial, Ghanaians shouldn't vote for the NDC because there's no way the NDC was going to recover whatever funds or whatever monies Woyomegate owed the state. Now, if you read, and I've only read from the dailies, one of his reasons is that he knows the NPP will prosecute Woyomegate. They'll go after him and get whatever they want to get. That is one of his reasons why he decided not to. Yes, it would have been a good thing for him to cross-examine, for Ghanaians to get to hear from Woyomegate's own mouth the questions that will be put to him. But maybe he has faith and trust in the NPP administration.
In fact, that's his reason. He says the Attorney General, the new president, had made a commitment in the campaign platforms before the elections that they will retrieve all monies, and that include the Woyomegate money. So, well, the Attorney General's department is the right place for this to happen. Let's leave it for them to do. If they don't, then he might.
So did he know that before, or was it that he didn't trust the Attorney General's department?
I think it's very clear that he didn't.
He didn't trust it then. Would it be a lost opportunity if it so happens that this government is not able to prosecute Woyomegate?
No, that would be a shock.
It would be a shock. So I would have thought that he would take the advantage for Ghanaians' sake and go ahead with it and question Woyomegate. So that, whatever the case, he would be helping this present government. He would be helping them by his act. He would be helping them look and delve into certain areas they might not have thought of. And so I think it's a lost opportunity. But as I said, he knows why, and he's giving the reasons why. He has the faith in this government to prosecute him. But as I said, if he doesn't, and if they don't, and if it goes on the way it's gone on with the NDC government, then it's a lost opportunity. Now, would he have the opportunity to come back and now cross-examine him? Would he have that opportunity again? I don't know. Yeah. The case might not be in the Supreme Court anymore. Yeah. The case might have gone a certain way, and that opportunity would be lost. So I would have thought, for public interest purposes,
so just simply gone ahead.
He should have gone ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Professor Jampo, so disappointed as a citizen?
Well,
or you think it's actually in the right direction?
Well, public trust and confidence in institutions is very key in our attempts to build strong institutions. And like he said, the citizen vigilante has expressed hope and confidence in the Attorney General
Is that his new title?
Citizen vigilante.
Is that title you've given him or his new title?
I think he wrote an article in which he referred to himself as such.
And so if he has
I'm not mistaken.
that trust and confidence in Attorney General, and then he believes that they don't suffer huge legitimacy deficit, and so they are capable and competent in pushing for the retrieval of our funds, and so for that matter he is not interested in pursuing what he wanted to do. I think so be it. My point is that let the public trust and confidence in the MPP administration not be dissipated. Let them follow whatever they say they're going to do religiously, and let them go for our money for us. If they don't do anything for Ghanaians, and they are able to just deal with corrupt public officials, they are able to fight corruption and retrieve monies that have been stolen, I think it will be good for Ghanaians. And so I think the fight against corruption for me is key, and let them not slow down. If that is described as witch hunting, I mean, so be it, so that people would approach public office with some trepidation.
David, what Mr. Amidu had done puts a lot of pressure on the current government, really, because he's withdrawn the case. He told the court, the Attorney General, I mean, in fact, I spoke to him on the phone briefly, and he was like, yeah, I mean, this is my point. You guys have complained and said you retrieve the monies for us. Now he says, okay, go ahead and do it, let's see. That's pressure. I mean, the countdown has started. We are watching the clock as it takes towards 2020.
I agree, Evans, absolutely. Let me say good morning to our viewers and then colleague panelists.
Good morning.
Evans, I perfectly agree with you. You remember one of the key reasons why most Ghanaians, I am sure, voted for the MPP was because of the fact that Ghanaians persistently have been of the opinion public funds have been misappropriated some way, somehow, one way or the other. Principal among these beliefs is the Woyomegate scandal, the Woyomegate case. We in the MPP, back in the opposition, campaigned vigorously on the premise that we were going to retrieve judgment debt unlawfully paid. Classical example we cited, the Woyomegate case. You remember Martin Amidu's application that was granted by the court to cross-examine Woyomegate because of the dilatory nature of the Attorney General as of that time was again stayed because there was another application challenging the process. And again, there was another application even questioning the locus of the judge, the sole judge, Justice Aniebua, who sat on the matter. So the whole issue had a lot of convolution around it. But the interesting bit of the matter is that I listened to Martin Amidu a few occasions while the MPP was in opposition, and he expressed confidence in the MPP's administration's ability to retrieve those illegally paid monies. Interestingly, at the vetting of the Honorable Gloria Akufu, the present Attorney General, she was emphatic that she was going to use her outfit to retrieve the stolen monies, as it were, the illegally judgment debt paid to non-deserving Ghanaians. So this is where we find ourselves, and this is where I wholly agree with you. The mere fact that Martin Amidu, who single-handedly is pursuing this matter of public interest, you would agree with me, in such a case, the Attorney General would have had to appear as a nominal defendant because we're dealing with a state actor. But this is the case. Woyomegate did not only sue, Martin Amidu did not only sue Woyomegate. He sued the AG, sued Waterville, and sued Woyomegate. So at the court, the AG did not appear or show up just as a nominal defendant, but as a necessary one. So what it means here is that the Attorney General has slowed down the process. And we have a new Attorney General who has been very confident in her disposition to collect the monies. So Martin Amidu says, I'm pulling back, and I'm going to fold my hands, together with the other Ghanaians who have expressed confidence in your ability to retrieve the money. And then we see what happens. This is where I agree with you. The government of the day has a bigger responsibility to prove to Ghanaians. We said it, that we'll retrieve these monies that the court ruled and said they were illegal. And here we are, we have done it. So my party has a bigger responsibility, and I'm absolutely confident
that it will be done. Okay, we'll see. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Time will tell. whether that is done. And Ghanaians are waiting. You're smiling. Is that in jest or you sincerely believe they're going to retrieve the money?
In times of goodwill, you have all the power to say what you want to say. Come 2 years going forward, if this money isn't retrieved, what do we say? Because Ghanaians aren't going to wait. Right now, Ghanaians don't have the patience to wait. They would not give the MPP 4 years to do this case. They are looking for instant justice now. And I believe that the new Attorney General, when she gets in, that's the first thing she should handle. Because
she's in.
Yeah, she's in. Corruption.
But she's engaged in fighting for us.
Well, that is also important.
Thing,
That is also important. If you know the amounts of money
that's
is going to come into the economy if we win that case. If we win that case, so it's good that she's there. But corruption is number one. And I believe that what she should do, she should stake out to Ghanaians how she's going to handle this case. You see, I keep saying that we vote the president and the government into power. Now, when they get into power, it's not just a question of, okay, we're in power, so we do what we want to do. Your service to the people. You should outline the, and one thing President Akufo-Addo did that I congratulate him for, that past presidents haven't done, is when he was introducing his ministers, he told Ghanaians the reason why he's chosen particular people.
So we can all hold them to.
And you see, if the people he's chosen cannot read into his vision, cannot read into the way he's doing things, and they do things ultra-vires to what he is doing, then he's in big trouble. They should be able to anticipate and know where he's heading for. And this, I would say, is novel in Ghanaian politics, for a president to stand and tell the people why he's chosen one or two. You might not agree with the people he's chosen, but that is his choice, and I think that was a good thing.
And I think when he is reshuffling or dismissing them too, he should tell, explain
I
to
hope.
them
I hope, yes.
Because that will be a very key tool for fighting corruption. For instance, if, I mean, sometimes people get appointed, and when they are being dismissed, you go find out and say, well, it's the president's power to appoint and to remove from office. He doesn't owe it a duty to people to explain why he may be removing them from office. And I'm saying that, given what the president did, I thought that was a fantastic innovation, justifying and letting Ghanaians know the pedigree and the reasons why said people were appointed. It was very good. Like, if he wants to remove them from office, he should also explain.
But Prof, one thing you should also know, he has pulled the trigger of anti-corruption. And what is that trigger? Go and file your
asset declaration, declare your assets.
He stressed it.
For the last night, 2 nights ago, when he stressed it,
and he said it. And he stressed it because, and I believe, this perception of corruption he doesn't want in his government. So he's telling you beforehand. And I would have loved him to say, you know, declaring your assets should be open to everybody to see.
You should go a step further.
You should go a step further.
Well, that will require an amendment to the asset.
Yeah, but he's the president. These are his appointees. He can say to them, well, I know what the law says, but transparency, tell us. But there's something ominous about the last 2 nights when he swore the last badge in. And he said, I have already told you I don't expect corruption. In my last speech, I said something to you about declaring your asset. In fact, he said they had printed copies of that speech and handed that to each one of you. I hope you've read it. It means it isn't, I don't want to repeat it, because I've already said it already. I've given you copies. Read it. It's pretty ominous if you are a minister, an appointee. When the president, the man has appointed, he said, I'm not going to repeat myself. I've given you copies. Read it yourself. And as he said, we wait to see what happens. If any of them breaches that, is he going to go ahead or say, I need evidence?
Evans,
or is going to start probing?
Evans, in the early days now, it's very easy to abide by it. Going into the journey, 2.5 years, 3 years, will they still abide by it? That is, those who have a different intention.
The MPP has a history of prosecuting people who run afoul of our rules in terms of, corruption and all that. Look at what happened during J. Gufo regime. NDC came 8 years, and I didn't see that, in terms of, magnitude, dealing with people, the magnitude of, efforts in dealing with people who were found to have been involved in misconduct or corruption and all that. So I am quite optimistic that wherever there is corruption, people who may have been found to have misconducted themselves and stolen public money, they will be dealt with.
Okay,
so
let
us have that optimism and let's see what happens. If
yeah.
they disappoint, then we'll be
take
here
it from
to
there.
also scrutinize.
Let me bring in George Lowe, who just joined us. Mr. Lowe, brief comments on the Woyomegate issue. Mathematics have withdrawn the case. Were you happy that it was withdrawn, or you think it's a missed opportunity?
Well, good morning, and good morning to our cherished viewers. Well, it's surprising that Mr. Martin Amidu will take such a move, will make such a move. I was of the opinion that whatever he was doing, he gave us the impression that he was aiding the process and that he wanted to expedite, the move to retrieve the monies. And so for him to just curtail that and say that, well, a new government has come in and I want them to take it up, I found that very, very imprudent. I believe that if indeed his motive really was to fast-track the process, then this is the opportunity rather, to aid the new government by providing them the opportunity to build on what he has done. But to have withdrawn, I find it very, the interpretation could be in various moves. It could just be that, look, I was doing it because I didn't like one government and that the new one has come, let me play that. That's one interpretation.
Many other interpretations. Like he's given them the benefit of the doubt.
No, Evans.
For now.
Evans, I'm saying that
because in one conversation he said
Evans,
to me,
we know that our Supreme Court processes are a lot, and that they are it's slow, and so every little effort expedites the process. Now that you have withdrawn, it means that the new Attorney General would have to go back to where we were, and I believe that once. It wasn't the court that struck out, and you willfully withdraw. It means that you've not edited the process. He had a duty to assist. That's what he gave us. That's the impression he gave us. That the former AG was slow, and that she didn't exhibit a stance that showed that she wanted an expedited trial. So he stepped in as a citizen. He was given the opportunity. There were interlocutories, some were, but it was not thrown out. He still had the opportunity. He should simply have taken advantage of the opportunity. To the extent that he didn't do it, I am disappointed.
Okay.
To the extent that he didn't do it, I think that various interpretations can be given to him.
Okay. Mr. Lowe, thank you very much.